Okay, we can go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Mr. Bishop? Ms. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Kleiss? Ms. Merlin?
Here.
Mr. Miles? Mr. Shetty?
Here.
I assume we just skip the declaration of quorum.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda? If no changes to the agenda, we can move on to the welcome.
Well, thank you guys for coming to the second meeting of the Urbana's Market at the Square Advisory Board. This board meets quarterly. Like I said, this is the second one. The next one will be in October, and you can find more information about the next meeting on the city's website.
Do we have any public input?
Yes, my name is Carol McCusick, and my address is 1907 North Cunningham Avenue. I am catching up from this meeting about the background of this body. So, I hear you said that it's just the second meeting, and I was wondering about whether you have bylaws, or want to do bylaws. When, for example, I did notice that when you haven't you don't really know from an agenda necessarily, or even from the roll call, how many members the law that formed the commission dictates for you. So that probably it would be in bylaws, as would what the quorum is. And since it's at the very beginning of this commission, I thought I'd mention that if you did have bylaws and you update them in the future, it'd be good if the secretary is charged with
I'll let you up.
keeping all the stages. That gets me basically, I'm going to switch over to the big plug which doesn't have anything to do actually with the, it has to do with the Market Advisory Board as a public body like any other, but not the particular work that you're engaged with. But I'm advocating for any and all boards and commissions to pass a resolution that would be appeal to the mayor to set up a board that's for government information issues of boards and commissions and government information issues more generally. So I have a drafted resolution that is mostly, I think it's mostly a preamble, not the resolving clause, but maybe I'll squeeze in one more, like an idea thing. Like any ideas that come from me are pretty much from a novice, and that's why I'm advocating for a board of government information, so that other novices like me and people from the public who notice things would be able to share, a forum for that. So here's the resolution. which is a suggestion for a call on the mayor regarding a wish for direction to legal staff to produce the legal framework for a potential new board, a Board of Government Information. Whereas there are organization questions for, and then you put the name of your board and commission, that should be reviewed before the public in a public forum, such as is afforded by meetings held live and recorded for on-demand in council chambers. And whereas for government systems or structures to be changed, there should first be a public review of what we are already constitutionally bound by and agreed upon values, and where those leave us in view of the pressures of the environment. Whereas those questions shouldn't be determined by one commission in isolation from the other commissions and the government of Urbana as a whole, because individual boards and commissions need to compare notes. Commissions should join together where they need a way to funnel upwards questions to the Public Access Counselor or points to the General Assembly, and a place for the state to give a single answer back downwards. And individual commissions should not envision could not envision solutions that envision solutions that optimize public access to public bodies if it depends on the uniformity of the layout of board web pages information, or on having an overall reference page of explanatory notes for the board and commission pages, or a broadly applied nomenclature for identifying decisions. Individual commissions also could not investigate or implement decisions without the expert support of the departments like legal, UPTV, public access television, information services, the Urbana Free Library, the city clerk, and disability advocate. And so they should have this interdepartmental support. But an individual board of many wouldn't feel comfortable taking that support, except that for all the commissions that would use it efficiently. And there needs to be a forum for there needs to be a forum for the various government information projects with an electronic dimension to compete for their share of the government information pie. And whereas there are things to be learned from things tried in the past, and a commission could embrace former government servants so it might not have trouble finding commissioners, and also as it would draw special interests that are may not now be engaged, like people interested in theory of government. It might not follow that it would be hard to fill all the slots on the board. And whereas staff represented might need to be from, well, this is not this, whereas staff, there might need to be not less staff necessarily, but at least an examination of staff. That would be that might be a component, like another type of expertise you'd look for in a board member is people who are thinking about, like, okay, we do all this, we have all this electronic participation in meetings or following meetings, and does that following government, what would that mean for how the current staff of the city of Urbana allocates its time versus how they would. Basically, then it goes resolved that the name of your board and commission calls on the mayor to have the legal department create a framework for a board of government information whose purpose is to help all the commissions with those issues. That's about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe, considering you're our only public member, you're probably our only public input. Nobody else would be correct. Oh, okay. With there being no further public input, we can proceed to new business.
So for new business, I added on additional discussion of direction. At the last meeting, I suggested to the group a focus towards some of the items from the market strategic plan, and this is on the city's website. Some of these items included working with the Urbana Business Association, seeking out and applying for grants for support of the market, and defining the fiscal impact of the market. To hit on the first item, I know that I meet regularly and communicate regularly with the Urbana Business Association, and as I mentioned in our last meeting, we had created a postcard which I distributed about shopping locally year-round in Urbana, and we meet frequently to talk about marketing and communications, which I think is helpful since we have similar audiences. We've also tossed around the idea about sometime in the future possibly putting together some kind of market tote bag that could be sold at all 3 markets and promote shopping year-round in Urbana. So that's something fun to think about and that we can visit as we move along. In terms of the second item, I'm still searching for grants and have subscribed to different email listservs to try to keep up on current farmers market events and potential grant opportunities. But if there are things that anyone sees and would like to pass along that could be applied to the market or something that I could research or find more information about, please pass it along. And then in terms of defining the fiscal impact of the market, I read something on the Farmers Market Coalition website. There's an organization called Market Umbrella out of Louisiana, and they developed this user-friendly method of estimating gross receipts at a market, neighborhoods in which shoppers reside, dollars they spend at nearby stores, frequency of their market attendance, and more. And that web-based tool is called Seed. And how it works is it provides a sample. It provides tools for interviewing a representative sample of shoppers. And so I printed that out so you could see what it looks like. It's in Spanish and English, and we do have bilingual market staff. I'll take one and pass it around if you guys are interested. So the interviews, along with the total tally of shoppers attending the market that study day or days, depending on if we just do it one day, which they say you could do it just one day, or for an even better sample, you could do it multiple days. You input that info into this free seed form online, and then the data is analyzed. There's some multipliers that express the impact not of just the spending on a particular market day or series of days, but also the successive rounds of respending the initial dollars within the region. So the greater interaction each dollar has with the local economy, the larger the multiplier. Seed, like I mentioned, it's a component of Market Umbrella. They're a nonprofit that was a part of a group that started the Crescent City Farmers Market in New Orleans. The Seed tool is free, like I mentioned before, and the surveying can be done with our current market staff. We just pick a day and we'll ask these questions to our market patrons. We don't need to have any additional manpower to accomplish the study. And like I said, the Seed suggests multiple studies, but we could try it out once to see if we can reach that sample that, based on the sample that they suggest, based on our average patron count from last season, over 27 weeks, we would need to sample 357 people. Based on our average patron count over these first 11 weeks of the market, they suggest sampling 351. So it's only 6 people different, like, between that. So basically, with your approval, I'd like to try this out at a market and see what happens, if we can even capture that many surveys with our current
You're showing the
market staff.
numbers consistent with last year, then?
Last year, over 27 weeks, we averaged...
No, I mean, you were saying up until now.
Oh, I only have 11 weeks to go from. So last year's numbers, we averaged about 5,000 people over 27 weeks. So far this season...
Oh, you don't have, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So far this season, over 11 weeks, we averaged about 4,000 people. So there's some market dates, like last year, the end of July and beginning of August, that were like 6,000, 7,000, based on our estimate of going around and clicking
Because Stan's estimate is it's down.
You think so?
Yeah, I know so. I don't know why, I think weather and just whatever,
There's been some rainy days.
yeah. And that's why I was concerned about this, if you pick a day that's a crappy day,
Right.
you know, it's,
Then we could try it again. I
Right.
mean, like, for example, I can send this around so you can see it. The numbers aren't that significantly different. Even if we had a not so great patron count at the market, we could still get a fairly representative sample, and I can pass it around and show you. And they show
because
their
it's, you know, it's
methodology
just, there's
behind
days
it.
they buy and there's days that they just shop or just visit.
Right.
I've never understood it. People don't mean dollars. At least that's what I found, I don't know.
This is,
I kind of feel like the foot traffic's been, if not equal, better than last year so far, with regards to me and what I'm seeing out there. And I'm up, so I'm going to attribute that to more people. The individual purchases are about the same as last year.
yeah. Well, this, like I said, of all of the things that I've seen, this is free. We
Right.
currently have nothing, so
Right.
this is better than nothing.
No, I'm not knocking it down,
Right.
I just was
Right.
curious.
And if the end result isn't still what we're looking for, it doesn't seem to be correct, obviously we'll keep looking, but we won't be out any money. And we're already there walking around talking to people
Right.
anyways. And
Will they be offended, or, you know, or you think they care, or?
it doesn't hurt to ask. I don't think they'll be offended. You know, I will state why we're doing it. I mean, they have a whole,
You always got your market shirts
Yeah.
on, so they'll know who you are.
yeah, they know who we are.
Has this been validated? I mean, it's a,
I found out about it through the Farmers Market Coalition, which is a nationwide organization where I find out a lot of stuff for market managers and market directors. The person that put it together is a PhD out of Loyola in New Orleans, and they're the group that initially started this Crescent City Market in 1995. And they got a grant to actually put this kind of stuff together, and now they've surpassed that, and they've gone kind of worldwide with helping specifically open air farmers markets, especially ones that might not have a single entrance and exit, which that's us. We have folks coming in from all directions in the market.
So is the idea to just do this one day and target?
The goal is to try it out one day and see if we can hit that
Hit that 357.
that goal of 350. I think
Yeah.
350 is pretty good.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it works. Give it a try. So maybe do it on one of the weekends when there's like a Sprouts happening or an Art at the Market happening, so there's a group of folks that are standing still in one place for a little while. So I was just throwing it out there. That's what I found in the meantime, and I thought we'd give it a whirl if you're okay with that.
Where everything's there now, so now would be the time to sweet corn, peaches, and everything's there, so.
Yeah.
I think if we could do it like once a month at least.
I was
Through
going to
the end-
say, you
through the end of
know,
the season.
obviously,
That'll give us a picture for next year.
Right.
You know, some background.
obviously, doing it the first time will be the telltale on the success of it. But if you're able to get your goal of 350 some, then try it again
Right.
each month, and that way you get a little bit more sampling based on the time frame of.
July, August, September, October.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with doing that. Sounds good to me. Give it a whirl.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Wonderful.
Do you need a motion?
Mm. Do you think I need? Okay.
It can be like
I move that we authorize Natalie to use the sticky economy evaluation device on at least one market day and hopefully up to 4.
I'll second.
So moved. Everyone say aye.
I
Did I step out of turn? Should you have done that? Okay.
No, that's right.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay.
Can we approve the minutes? We got a quorum.
We can go
I
back.
thought he said,
Oh, because it's not on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Oh, never mind.
I would go back to approve this agenda though.
Okay.
At the October meeting, I'll be sure to put on the agenda approval of minutes from the first meeting and from this meeting, since I didn't add it to today's agenda, and we'll get that covered next time.
Okay.
And that's all I had for discussion of direction
Okay.
at this time.
Should we go back and do roll call again?
No.
Okay. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda? Okay, no changes to the agenda. Any more new business?
I've had my first complaint.
Okay.
I requested it in writing, I didn't get it, so, but I'm hoping I get it, because I feel like that way I can just give it to you folks and you've got it in writing, so I don't misinterpret it. But there was some concerns about, and it involved me representing another farm at the market. We sell a product that's not ours, and Natalie and I mean, I was very open with it, Natalie and I discussed it. But this particular individual says it's a slippery slope, and so he just wanted me to bring it up. You know, and I questioned him, you know, where do you start and where do you stop? I mean, say for instance, I'm using another product, not me, but say somebody's using another product and further processing it and then calling it theirs. Is that okay too? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of areas where we could go with this. You know, if you add value to it and it's not yours, is it yours then when you add value to it? I mean, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm referring to, you know, like the cheese, you know, and I'm not picking on Wes and Leslie, but I mean, you know, it's sheep cheese, it's not their sheep. But they're adding value to it, so. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine. I think you can try to over-regulate here, but I said I would bring it up,
Okay.
so. He wants, but this is something he's been after for a long time. I mean, he was he got this going. I mean, he was one of the guys that wanted to get this board established. So, but he would like to see rules and guidelines set down as far as policy set for this sort of thing. So I said I'd just bring it up and we'll go from there.
Okay.
But I would still like to have it in writing so I could submit it to everybody.
Mhm.
I just didn't get it today.
Is the product locally produced?
Yeah, it's for me. It's we're selling eggs from another farmer, but we work with him because we quit doing eggs.
Uh-huh.
So we partnered with him. I sold him all my equipment, and so I'm selling them there at the market, but I'm not under my name. It's his product.
If I can I add to that? And so for the farm that produces those eggs, I require that they complete a vendor application and submit all the necessary information that any other vendor would at the market. And I know of 3 other spaces out at the market where this happens, and it's because there's a vendor there and they are bringing something from someone else, but that someone else had to complete an application and submit all the necessary paperwork, whether it's health department rules and regulations or provide Illinois business tax numbers. So what is required of that other party is what's required of everyone else. And that it's noted in the rules and regulations for the market. We don't allow carrying unless market director approval or per market director discretion. And in the instances where this happens, that second party applied just the way any other vendor would. So I have all their contact info and it's listed on the market's most of it's listed on the markets page.
Mhm.
For the example of one farmer, she was worried she wouldn't have enough to bring to every market, and so someone in a farming program, I don't remember the name of it, but I can follow up with you in an email about it. They worked together, and so they split the booth. So both of their names, that space on the map is marked in half with both of their names. So they both had to apply and give me all the necessary information. So that's how I've been handling it so far this season on this end.
And that seems fair,
Yeah.
I think.
It seems like it's mutual support. Really.
Well,
I mean,
my feeling
it's
is
a way
the more you bring to the market, the better.
Yeah.
I agree.
The variety. Because we had the same situation in the other market I do, and there's more actually than here that represent somebody else. There's a guy's got spices, and one's got canned goods and stuff, so it's just more products you're bringing to the market that wouldn't be there.
And they meet the same standards, so
Mhm.
it seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Any other new business? Anyone have any announcements?
I have one quick one.
Okay.
I got these in the mail today. They're from the Illinois Stewardship Alliance. I'll pass them around to you guys. They coordinate throughout the state local flavors. It's basically a farm-to-table series of dining events. These are the ones specific to the Urbana-Champaign area, but they also do similar events in Bloomington, Normal, and Rockford area, and there's got to be one in the south too. But we have been kind of working together on some marketing and promotions this season, and so they sent us some posters to pass around. So I just wanted to share with the group.
So people have to make reservations
I
for each of these dinners
Yeah.
or lunches?
I believe so, although I'm not sure how it works with the craft truck. You can't necessarily make a reservation with the food truck, although that would be fantastic to have your food ready
Your
to
standing
go.
reservation.
And at one point you could tweet in advance your order and they would have it, but I don't know if that still remains. That was last year.
Well, they handed these out to vendors last year. I wonder if we're gonna get one, because we left it on our table.
Yeah. I'm not sure I can follow up. I only got like a dozen of them, and so I've gave some to you guys, and I'll take some to market as well.
We need another dinner in Urbana.
They did ask if there were any restaurants that I knew of specifically that shopped at the market, and I gave them some, just what I knew off the top of my head, and only one was on there. So I don't know if it was just too late of notice, or I know the program has been growing over the last couple of years, so that's all I got for announcements right now.
Any other announcements?
Well, just since it's fresh in our mind from the council perspective, has everyone done their Open Meetings Act training?
I believe so.
I have my certificate with me if
I
needed.
thought I turned it in.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I've slept since then.
Yeah. I think we're good.
Yep. Okay. With no more announcements, would someone like to move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second it.
All right. This meeting is adjourned.